Are we really having this conversation? Milan Lucic coming to the Vancouver Canucks? I guess it's happening. You're going to hear about that next. It's Beggsy and Bhawan, and you're listening to Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on? Thanks for hitting the play button on today's episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is trevbeggs, Canucks writer and credentialed media member for Daily Hive Vancouver. And before we dive into today's show, we want to thank you for listening to Locked On Canucks. Your team every day had some nice momentum on the network lately. Make sure you're part of that momentum. Make sure you subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Because, Kyle, we don't discriminate. Hey, whether you want to listen on audio, whether you want to listen on video, it doesn't matter. You listening right now, you are what makes this show. Speaking of the show, we're going to talk about Milan Lucic, okay? The guy himself, the pride of East Van, said he would never play, never set foot in Vancouver again except for Rogers Arena. Maybe his tone has changed now. So should Milan Lucic, come to the Vancouver Canucks. That's the main topic of today's show. Also going to touch on finding the next Dakota Joshua and some deep dive options there. But first and foremost, Kyle, you can find the next Dakota Joshua. There's guys like that out there, but there's no one like Kyle Bhawan, my brother. How you doing today?
Oh, man, doing well. New day, new start. Locked On Canucks, your team every day, having this conversation about number 17. Number 17, Milan Lucic, potentially coming back home. And then we're looking for the next Dakota Joshua. Are you serious? This is Locked On Canucks. Where are you going to get this content from? Nowhere else, okay? Nowhere else. Shout out to the people watching this. Shout out to the people not watching this. We're sending you love. Beggsy and I from Surrey, British Columbia. We lead with love, okay? We got to do it. Speaking of you, we get to you at the end of the show. Comment corner, coming at you. We do save the best for last. Coming at you. Pause. Beggsy, let's do it, man. Lucic, I'm really excited to have this conversation because the sativa was hitting, and you know what? I was thinking of ways that this could make sense in my mind, in my heart, and for this team. But I'll let you go first.
I personally don't care about the fact that he was on Boston. I've seen some talk there. Like, there's lots of overreactions on the online world, but I've read some takes like, I will never cheer for the Canucks again if they sign Milan Lucic. It's like, dude, you're going to make that much of a big deal about a 35-year-old fourth liner? I mean, come on. Like, let's not overreact here. But, at the end of the day, I would lean towards no. And again, we're talking about Milan Lucic signing at like almost a league minimum, right? Like, I'm talking like $750,000, $800,000 kind of range. I would still lean towards not signing him. And we're going to get into it in segment 2. I would just rather take a dart throw on the next Dakota Joshua. Like, let's find someone who's younger with a bit more speed, with a bit more upside than Lucic, who's one of the slowest players in the NHL this season. And, I think there's that intangible argument there, Kyle, in terms of, the Canucks being a quiet team. He brings some of that vocal leadership. He brings some of that toughness to the lineup. So I would lean no, but there's two sides to this, man. What do you think? Lucic infancy.
I think that on a 1-year deal, $750K, a deal that's easily, you could bury that. You could send Lucic down. You could waive him. One of those deals. Having him at training camp, just for the sole purpose of having him at training camp would be worth it, because it's pretty obvious that I feel as if a lot needs to change for the Canucks, especially on like how they prepare for the start of the season, how that room looks like, the feel of it. I feel as if a player or players like Lucic, who are brought in, again, for the shot to make the team, but just maybe on a manipulative level where you're bringing someone in just to like change the culture for a month or something. I know it sounds crazy, but I could see that being worth the risk. Yes, bringing Lucic in, training camp, let him compete for a job, but at the same time, let him use his voice, his experience to put a new perspective in that dressing room prior to the start of the season. Now, it's obvious that Lucic isn't even the prime guy on the market / out there / the person needed for an example like this. Maybe there's other guys that fit the mold that could bring a voice and actually bring more speed to the table. Lucic hasn't been really that successful in his teams over the years, but I could see that being another reason why they would try doing something like this for real. It's just different, bro. It's just different. Different voice. This guy's a big dude. He's a vocal figure, a physical figure. It could just change some things. I'm not gonna say he's gonna hold people accountable because he'd be the new guy on the team, but you got what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, there's the same condition with Lucic, obviously, right? And like I said, a big dude like Lucic walks in the dressing room. He's won a Stanley Cup before. Honestly, it feels a bit like Luke Shen on the defense last year. And I know his point's been made already, but can you envision a scenario where the Canucks re-sign, where they re-sign Luke Shen, my apologies, and sign Milan Lucic next season? Do you think that's even a possibility? And would that change the identity of the Canucks if those two guys are holding down everyday spots in the lineup?
Well, I feel as if there should be no Luke Shen return based on, again, the fact that this team has looked the same for so long on the ice. Maybe that's because they've looked kind of the same off it with their leadership as well. I'm sure Luke Shen's a dope dude, great teammate, did his thing. He's actually playing the best hockey of his career, but I feel as if emotionally, mentally, things have to be different. I think that actually starts with the people in the room. And nothing against Luke Shen. Maybe I sound crazy, but I feel as if they can't just bring back, even if the guy's good and you can get him at a good deal, they can't just bring back the same faces into that organization. They can't. Because it doesn't equate to anything. And the start of the season is so, so important that, again, I could see the Canucks doing some wild experiments like this to get new voices, a new perspective, a new angle, something could shift. Is Lucic that guy? Maybe there's someone else.
Yeah. To your Luke Shen point, I honestly think he wasn't very good for the Canucks last season. He looked better on the Leafs, I think. But honestly, I just think that Leafs blue line was probably a bit overrated for what it was. But at the end of the day, I think Luke Shen's going to be overpaid for what he is, based on his contributions to the Canucks and Toronto Maple Leafs. I think the league took notice, right? The guy's setting hits records. He's leading the league in hits. He's throwing that big body around.
Hey.
I think this guy's kind of in that $2-ish million range, which I think is out of the Canucks price range, and I'd stay away from him.
Can you tell? Can you tell, Trevor? You said throwing the body around for whatever reason. It kind of brought me back to Lucic and how kind of being to Lucic right now. Because if you asked me a couple months ago, I'm saying, what are we talking about right here? We're wasting our time. No Milan Lucic. Come on, what are you talking about? No chance. Good hockey players need to come to the Vancouver Canucks. Okay.
Exactly.
They don't need potential metaphoric examples to be a part of their roster acquisition. Come on, just get good hockey players, right? But look, I turned 30 years old, and as you can tell, bro, I guarantee Lucic, he's doing some traveling here in Vancouver. Come on, we doing Locked On Canucks every day. Dude, 30 years old, man. Bro, am I scared of Lucic? Am I scared to say something because I might see this guy at Walmart or something? Dude, the dude's something else, man. Milan Lucic is intimidating, man. Really intimidating, okay? Just his nature. And again, that could be a reason why the Canucks could bring him in to start the season off. Again, a contract that's so easily, you could throw that thing away. It's too easy. For real. They could take a swing like that because, again, of the intimidation / different perspective.
Yeah. And I guess, what, to kind of wrap up my take here, when I responded to that comment a couple weeks ago, I said, absolutely not. The Canucks should not sign Milan Lucic. But you're right, Kyle. It is basically an over-risk gamble, right? This guy is theoretically signing under $1 million. If it's over that, then my take goes back to absolutely not. But it is a contract that would be easy to bury in theory. And, he was healthy scratched a couple times last year in Calgary. I could see that happening again this year. I don't think this guy is made to, skate in an NHL lineup for 82 games of the season. But you're right. Maybe having that presence at training camp and in the dressing room, there could be some value there. At the end of the day, that's just not where I would go if I was making the decisions for the Canucks. Again, I would rather let's chase the next Dakota Joshua. Let's find that guy that's 10 years younger than Lucic, has some size, has some speed, and has some untapped potential.
Yeah, and I found it really interesting how Lucic actually called Hockey Canada to get a spot on that team. It wasn't the other way around. I'm not poking fun,
Yeah.
whatever, man. He's done a lot for the game, and he said he wanted to experience something that he's never experienced, and that's, I guess, the World Hockey Championships. It is what it is, If that's the way you got in there, it's the way you got in there. But I don't think it's also ironic, like Hockey Canada wasn't even
Yeah.
looking probably this guy's way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, maybe he's never. I mean, the World Championships were in Budapest, Latvia, and Tempe, Finland. So I mean, no, it's like maybe he's never been to those places,
But
man.
hey,
Some traveling, some experiences, part of life.
hey, man, if we're talking about the Hockey Championships and Milan Lucic, this guy set up what's his name? Fantilli,
Fantilli, yeah,
for that goal against Latvia. See, look, come on, people. Come on, people. Kyle Bhawan getting back into the swing of things, okay? For real, man. How did I
yeah.
know that? How did I know that?
Great
Lucic set
question.
up Fantilli. Come on, man. Locked On Canucks, your team every day. We trying. We getting ready for
Yeah.
September too.
There we go. I'm just trying to figure out new dad life, man. My wife's due date's a week today. Holy man, holy! I
Oh,
could get the
man.
call any minute. I might delete the show.
Wow, dude.
We'll
See,
see how
that's
it's
what
going.
happened there. We'll talk more about it after the break. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So on the other side, let's find. I've done a bit of a deep dive here. Some guys who could potentially be the next Dakota Joshua. More on that on the other side. But first, I gotta tell you, you need to make a fast break to FanDuel during the NBA playoffs because right now, new customers can get a no sweat first bet up to $2,500. I know, Kyle, you were expecting me to say 1,000. It's now $2,500. That's the amount you could get up to for your no sweat first bet. And that's bonus bets back too if your first bet doesn't win. Okay, Kyle, quickly, Denver Nuggets, Miami Heat, who you got NBA Finals?
I got the Miami Heat.
Wow.
Dude,
wow. Okay.
because bro, I don't watch a lot of basketball, obviously. Been a fake NBA fan for a while, been bouncing around team to team to team, not really doing my job, and that's keeping my promises. The Miami Heat, they're workmen, They go hard in the paint. I think they had like multiple undrafted players on this team, and they're in the NBA
Yeah.
Finals. Eggsy,
I think it's the most of all time.
Beggsy, we gotta relate to people like that because you're Trevor Beggs and I'm Kyle Bhawan. You know what I'm saying? We gotta cheer for those types of people.
Yeah, I got too much bitterness towards the state of Florida, not just for them being probably one of the weirdest states in the U.S., but I'm not a Tom Brady fan, not a fan of the Bucks, not a fan of the Panthers and Tampa Bay. It's just too much winning down there. I'm a better Canucks fan, okay? So I'm going Denver Nuggets in 5. Let's go. Russell Wilson's Denver Nuggets for that matter. And if I'm making a bet on that, I'm going to do it on FanDuel because there's great promotions every day. The app is safe and secure, and you can get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet on all the NBA playoff action than on America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and get a no sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA.
You're back on Locked On Canucks. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs, your team every day. Shout out once again to the everydayers. And again, to the people not watching this, Beggsy and I sending you love. Yo, Trevor, man. Trevor, you said you ignored me while I was going on a spiel there towards the end of the segment because you were just daydreaming about the possibility of what could happen at any given moment. And I'm proud of you, sending you love, well wishes, all the peace in the world to you and your family. It's a beautiful thing. And I wanted to touch on that because yesterday I was having a strange day, and there were parts in the show yesterday where I was zoning out too. And I want to apologize to you, okay? And the listeners for doing that.
Well, I guess I got to apologize to you now for zoning out. But yeah, like I said, wifey's on the mind. Baby boy's about to enter the world at any time now, man.
Yeah,
And,
I think
maybe,
you're allowed
maybe,
to. Oh, sorry, go ahead. My bad.
I was going to say, maybe my baby boy will be the next Dakota Joshua, although with my genetics, that's probably a low possibility. Really, my wife's the one with the athletic genes, man. Big soccer family over there.
Dude,
but I think, again, for the Canucks, let's not chase the next Milan Lucic. Let's chase the next Dakota Joshua. Honestly, I'm going to guess that listeners have not heard of most of these guys, so I'll rip through it pretty quick, give the Coles notes. I'm going to go with the most recognizable name first, though, and that's Jujhar Khaira. Played with the Chicago Blackhawks mainly last season.
Wait, did you say that name right? Did you say that name right? Jujhar? Come on. Is it Jujhar? Is it Jujhar or Jujhar?
I thought it was Jujhar.
Do it for the people. Is this guy from Surrey too? Possible?
He is from Surrey, yeah. Yeah, he is from Surrey.
You better be saying that name right, man. I'd butcher every name, but we're not doing that to the people in Surrey, okay? Jujhar Khaira. Okay.
I thought it was Khaira.
No, you're
Jujhar
probably right, man. You're more brown than I am.
I'm gonna choose not to respond to that one. Jujhar Khaira hitting free agency. Yeah, he probably played more minutes than he should have in Chicago last year with an AHL level squad there, but I know I still like his presence as a fourth line. I would much rather have Jujhar Khaira on this team than Milan Lucic. The only other really recognizable name, John Hayden. So John Hayden, he's kind of that pure tough guy, okay? And for the most part on this list, I was looking for guys with some size. John Hayden kind of fits the bill of like a tough, scrappy dude. Like, so he's 6'3", 223. So he's played quite a bit at the NHL level, 247 games. Now he has 290 penalty minutes in those games. But he can score the AHL too, even this season, 33 points in 47 games. So, you know, he's a tough guy and a guy I'd kind of like, again, over Milan Lucic. Bit of a Milan Lucic bashing session. My apologies, Lucic. You know,
he's gonna kick your ass. He's gonna kick your ass, bro.
If I don't return to Locked On Canucks, it's not because my baby was born. It's because Milan Lucic actually assassinated me.
Oh wow!
It's the way it goes. It's the way it goes.
It's the risk we take for the people. Honestly, man, hit the like button because we're risking. Trevor Beggs is risking his life to do this for you, and that's tell the truth. Where you got me, and I'm like, yo, Lucic, you can play with Pedersen, man. Pick up 17 goals, 40. That's what the team needs, you know.
Holy, I think Josh has played with Pedersen over Milan Lucic. Sorry, Milan. Probably the last recognizable name on this list, if you could say that, Radim Zahorna. He's a 6'6" Czech player. He played with both Toronto and Calgary this season. Again, he's only played in 35 NHL games with 5 goals and 11 points. Very similar and actually above what Dakota Joshua did in his NHL career St. Louis last year. He had 3 goals and 6 points in 30 games. So Horner kind of fits that mold of a bottom 6 forward guy with size. And maybe he's a little on the older side. He's 27 years old now, but again, certainly a guy I would chase over Milan Lucic. Do I got to say that at the end of every player here? This seems like I'm really bashing the guy now. Now I'm starting to get the heebie-jeebies, buddy.
Yo, he's going to squeeze your head, bro. Okay, yo, can I ask you a question? If you ever gone to a scrap, Beggsy, if you ever gone to a scrap street fight, again, you have a family to take care of.
Yeah.
I know it's all about pride and the tangibles and being a man, but would you not go after the ball sack first to escape, to survive? It's not about winning it's not about winning the fight. It's about surviving and getting the upper hand. So if you hit him with the kick to the you-know-what right away, you have time to run away. And you survived. And you get to see your family again. There you go. Locked On Canucks, saving lives. Yo, the next Dakota Joshua. Do we need the next Dakota Joshua, or do we need to instill more faith and empower somebody like Dakota Joshua to just, be that guy and then some? Or do you think it's important to have, you're watching the Stanley Cup playoffs, you're seeing Vegas, you're seeing Florida. Do you think it's important to have 2 guys like that? Big, strong, physical here and there. You could see potential where if they intensify things a little bit more, they could be, everydayers, people in the playoffs or players in the playoffs who make impacts. Is it really important for the Canucks to get another guy like this?
I'd say between those 2 that you said, it's more important to empower Dakota Joshua. I think we saw that he really elevated his game as the season went on. Even again, Rick Taka, when I asked him about Joshua and his progress, said he could score 20 goals. So yeah, I mean, the priority I would say would be to empower Joshua between those 2. But at the end of the day, again, we've seen a team like the Florida Panthers. They took a ton of dart throws on guys like this. The guys I'm talking about right now, who, again, were undervalued by their organizations, not getting opportunity, maybe battled injuries as well. So I do think it's important to take dart throws on guys. And again, I wouldn't chase the fancy name unless that Canucks leadership room. Again, you and I are not in the room. If Rick Tocchet thinks they really need that veteran voice to kind of amp the guys up a bit, then yeah, maybe it is worth trying to target Lucic. But aside from that, I would much rather target a younger player with some untapped potential rather than Lucic, who's clearly near retirement.
Yep, Trevor Beggs said that. Kyle Bhawan did not. So again, I cut you off. Answer the question. You're not going for the kick to the groin and escaping back to your family safe and sound. Not because it's not about winning fights. You're not a UFC fighter. Come on, pride. Cause you're 30, bro. You're almost 30. Pride, dude. It's over. It's all about survival.
If it's a life or death scenario, maybe. But that would not be my first intention. No, I've been in a few fights in my day, and actually, I remember like this is gonna sound bad, but as teenagers, we used to basically just like smoke up in the park and drink a bit and like fight in this hill. And I remember this one guy, he like, and we're starting to go at it, and he just like put his hands up like this, like he was gonna punch, and then like kneed me right in the balls, and it drove me nuts. So I don't know. It really bothers me to do that. Maybe if it was life or death, I would do it. But no, man, no, I'm not. My instinct would not be to go to the balls.
Interesting, man. We think differently. We're different people, but we're both here every day on Locked On Canucks. It's the Canucks that ultimately brought us together, and forever. I'm gonna be grateful for that.
Yeah, 100%, buddy. Okay, let's rip these last 3 names quick because no one's gonna really know them. But just remember,
I thought you were done with the names. My bad, bro.
No. Just remember. No, I guarantee you 99% of our listeners, 99 is high. 92% of our listeners won't know these guys, but I'm going to shout them out quickly. And just remember, Beggsy said the name, okay? Trevor Beggs. Thank you very much. Mikhail Maltsev, originally drafted by the New Jersey Devils. He's battled a lot of injuries. So with the Colorado Avalanche, he was near a point per game for their AHL affiliate. But he's actually gone pointless in his last 23 NHL games. But again, it's just been a career hampered by injuries. He did have 6 goals and 9 points in 33 games for the Devils a couple seasons ago before moving to Colorado. Tim Gettinger. So this guy's in the New York Rangers pipeline. Again, his profile to me seemed very similar to Dakota Joshua. So at the AHL level. So this one thing we saw with Joshua is that last season before he came to the Vancouver Canucks, so 2021-22, in the AHL, he was about a half point per game player in the regular season and a point per game player in the playoffs. Very similar with Tim Gettinger here. So he had 35 points in 52 games for Hartford, but in the AHL playoffs had 8 points in 9 games. So again, he's a 6'6", 220-pound left winger, very much in the mold of a Dakota Joshua. And again, a guy I'd rather target over Milan Lucic. One more name really quick, Justin Kirkland. So Justin Kirkland,
crap, get out of here, man. Oh, you come on, dude.
Big guy. Rattled me, man. Known for a big shot. Again, he's been a good playoff performer for the Stockton Heat in 2021-22 at 7 goals and 12 points in 13 games.
Okay.
And then that's my last name on the list. So just Justin Kirkland, Mikhail Maltsev, and Tim Gettinger were the last 3 names I just mentioned there. Beggsy, gold for the deep dive. Locked On Canucks, baby.
Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Comment corner at the end of the show in what, a couple seconds, a couple minutes, who knows what. Thanks for listening, man. One love, man. One love. Do we got any ad breaks here? You're back on Locked On Canucks. Beggsy, man. Beggsy going through the deep dive right there on 5th line NHL potential players, man. For real, man. You found a player on Costco.com. That's something else, man. That's something else. You do it for the people. And you do it also because you really don't want Milan Lucic on this team. You rather have Scott Kirkland on your team than Milan Lucic, 100%, okay? You also said something about the fans. You said that there's no chance that our fans would not know any of these names, okay? You said no chance at all. I'm going to give them more credit.
I said 92% of the fans would not know those names.
These are smart fans. I'm going to say only 7% of our listeners didn't know who those guys were. Those listeners, again, the highlight of this show right here, Comment Corner. Not the show. I guess they are the highlight of the show, okay? Of this segment, though, Comment Corner, it's all for you. Let's go to this guy right here, Neil Matheson. Talking about OEL, okay? Buyout, easy, done and gone. Whoa, could you imagine this guy's breakup letters, man? Simple. Buyout, done, get him out of here, peace, over. Dark. A lot of millions and millions of dollars, though, man. It's not that easy.
Yeah, I mean, it is the easiest option for the Canucks, I think. But let's see. We don't know necessarily what's on the trade market right now, but man, oh man, it is just such a tempting get out of jail free card, especially if next season matters for the Canucks, which we all know it does. And shout out to Neil. He's actually a dude I recognize from a long time ago. So Neil, hope you're keeping well, buddy.
Neil Matheson, again, does not want OEL anywhere close to this roster. He wants Aquilini to just suck it up and pay millions for nothing. The next comment comes from JW Bird. Stick OEL in the press box for 4 years. Just stick him up there. So don't buy him out. So I guess what he's saying is like, go if we have to get cap space, get rid of one of the wingers. And if we want to ice our best team, OEL shouldn't even be playing, which hurts. It hurts to know that maybe, just maybe, we're better off without playing an $8 million defenseman. Real talk, because we kind of saw that last year too. We kind of saw that at times. Now the year before, OEL was solid. He was not like he wasn't $8 million good, but he was better than he was last season. This guy needs to be doing push-ups right now, man. I hope him and Talkett booked a 1-week trip at that same place my girlfriend and I shared in Sunshine Coast. I know it's a romantic spot, but just to like tap into like, what are we trying to do here, OEL? What are we trying to do here? I believe in you. Look at the ocean. We got this. There you go.
I think if the Canucks don't buy out OEL, they need to completely reinvent his DNA. Show him like 28 hours of Alex Biega video and give this guy 4 Red Bulls before every period. That can't be good for your heart health, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't see many solutions for OEL. In terms of sticking OEL in the press box, the commenter's totally right. Thanks for commenting. Yeah, we wouldn't be in this mess if Jim Benning didn't, trade Roussel, Beagle, and Eriksson for OEL. I mean, it's going to go down as one of the worst trades in Canucks history. And especially that'll be cemented if we buy out OEL. But yes, I mean, sticking him in the press box, sure, I agree, because he's providing negative value. But if you're going to stick him in the press box, you may as well just buy him out, because you're going to pay him, $7.26 million not to play for you. You may as well buy him out and pay him, 2/3 of that not to play with you,
100%. And I'll end it on this note too. If this is the summer where Connor Garland is traded from the team and the sweetener we needed to add to get that cap space was a 1st-round pick or a 2nd-round pick, and then for whatever reason the team wanted more cap space and they're like, you know what, we're going to buy out OEL too. If that happens in one summer, they got to make sure.
Woo!
Because that could happen. There's like a 4% chance that could happen because the team needs a lot of money. If that happens, the city of Vancouver needs to file a restraining order against Jim Benning right away, because he does not deserve to come back to the city for a while. That's damage for a long time, yo. Because of that trade, this team needs way more luck. You know how hard luck is to grasp? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially when you're the Vancouver Canucks. I mean, when the Canucks are trying to grasp Lady Luck, it's like they got their fingers covered in olive oil, man. It's unbelievable.
Dude.
But anyways, man, I mean, the Canucks don't have luck, but I hope you listening out there, you had some luck. At the very least, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Locked On Canucks. Again, let us know in the comments, should the Canucks sign Milan Lucic? You've heard Kyle and us, the take from Kyle and I. Now it's time for you to let us know how you feel. Coming up later this week, I talk about Quinn Hughes player review season, baby. And Kyle, I got to say, I've been diving into some draft stuff, okay? Like for my 4 a.m. wake-ups, I've been starting to watch some prospect video. I've been reading the rankings. So we're definitely going to start transitioning to the draft over the next week or two here. Because, I'm not going to sleep anymore either with the new baby on the way. So I may as well stay up and watch draft video while I'm rocking baby to sleep. So anyways, my name's Trevor Begg. That guy, Kyle Bhawan. Shout out to you for listening to this episode of Locked On Canucks.